Hey, I'm Dave, and you're listening to another episode of Dying to Listen, presented by the Disc Golf Dyers Guild. Today, I have a very special in-person guest, another one. There's a lot of Wisconsin dyers, but we have Alan Redlinski.
What up?
A.K.A. Bones. Thank you for being on here.
My pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, we actually just got done playing a round at Leagues at Sussex, and you did pretty good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, walked out neg 3 today.
Me, not so much. I think I try to not remember the score. So yeah, obviously you play disc golf, but what got you into playing disc golf?
So I got into disc golf through my cousin was my main influence, or inspiration. But I got into disc golf because disc golf was the one sport that I was actually able to play with having epilepsy. So I wasn't able to play other sports, so got into disc golf and just ran with it.
So I guess, can you explain a little bit more about that and the epilepsy?
I was diagnosed with epilepsy at the age of 2, and so through the years, I wasn't able to do auto tech or woods class or different kinds of sports. And so it's been kind of my kind of struggle through life, but about 3 years ago now, I had a brain surgery to take care of my epilepsy, and so now I am going on 3 years seizure free. That's
awesome. And don't you have a tattoo to explain that a little bit?
Yes, I do. So right here I have a scan of my brain, and the black is what was removed for surgery. The black is it was the left frontal lobe and the left amygdala, and that's where the seizures were coming from.
That's crazy. Well, how has the disc golfing helped you with everything?
So disc golf was like the, like I say, like the one sport that I could finally play. But it was finally like a sport of acceptance with my struggle with seizures, with epilepsy, and the limitations of it. But then finally found the sport, and there's no holding back. It's like finally found the sport that I can actually like play and really enjoy. And it's like, who doesn't like going out for a beautiful nature hike for 2 hours a day?
Yes. This is fun, unless you hit a lot of trees and miss all your putts. So what got you into disc dyeing then?
Like I'm really big into art. I'm an artist. I am a freehand artist. It's like the tattoos that you can see. I drew them freehand. The only one that I did not draw is my falcon. Is my Polish falcon for Polish heritage. But so it's like I drew on paper for years and years and years and years, and through school I wasn't able to take sports or kind of like get into that stuff. So it's like I took every art class that I could. And so it's like now finally going from putting on paper or even like plates with food. Now it's putting on plastic with dyes, with acetone, and it's like now can finally like hold that beautiful piece of art, and you don't need to worry about tearing the paper.
Yes, just hitting trees. No, I saw your actual drawing artwork that you've done, and I was like, I'm honestly really impressed with that, and that's cool that you can
Thank you.
Translate that to disc dyeing. I rarely see a lot of people, if anybody, doing what you're doing. Because you're doing it a little bit differently, I think, in my mind, is you're applying the dye that people would normally do for like beds on top of the disc. So that's obviously we can dive into that a little bit more. But when did you start dyeing your discs?
I started about 2.5 years ago.
Okay.
Went from kind of like super simple and watching videos on YouTube and like, I think this is how I do it, to now my kind of like main thing I've worked up to is using squeeze bottles to where I can get just as fine lines as Sharpies. So I can go from using Sharpie on paper and still get that same width then onto plastic.
That's crazy.
Thank you.
Do you remember the first disc that you dyed?
Yes, it was a base stamp or bottom stamp Discraft Comet. I do believe a 164 gram, and I tie-dyed the top in my first base snowflower design. But it is pink, green, blue, and white, originally on a green, blue, white burst tie-dye plastic. So the bottom will still have that burst design, and then the top is bigger burst lines.
Very interesting. Do you remember like your second or third discs that you've dyed?
Second disc was a West Side Sword long distance driver. I did a top stamp, but the top stamp was I do wave effect design. First one was first layer was the inner circle of the top was with white line and black filler. Outside was black line with white filler, and then red to complement. And then I did Sharpie freehand on the bottom.
Nice.
So, thank you.
So I'm going to say, you have a signature style, but if you could define what your signature style is, how would you describe it?
I would say all freehand art. I do not use rulers. I do not use computers, printers. I do not use go on to the internet, print it off, and like try and get that that same picture. I will stare at the picture for hours if needed, and then just go by memory.
That's crazy. So where do you get your inspiration from for your dyeing? The
artwork that you see on the plastic, the inspiration, the meanings all behind my artwork is what was taken out of my head.
That's crazy and pretty awesome at the same time that you can translate what is in your head onto a disc, and it looks killer.
Thank you.
So more power to you. Do you want to just kind of describe your process a little bit of how you actually dye the disc? Like, what's your mixture and all that good happy stuff?
I use lotion, Floetrol, and acetone, and then eye dye for my colors. And then so I use if I'm using if I'm going to do 2 discs in the same amount of colors or the same shades, or if I'm doing 2 completely different different designs, different styles, different colors, I will get a disc and I will stare at it for an hour to 5 hours trying to like mentally design step by step the angles, the colors, the shading, how it will complement, and then it's like once I have it, once I can see it, then I follow my lines. Yeah.
So what tools do you all use for your disc dyeing?
So I use like I think it's like 3 ounce, 4 ounce small squeeze bottles with ultra fine tips. I use it's like braces or gum.
Are those little rubber bands?
No, they're like little rubber cones.
Okay.
And instead of using a toothpick, instead of using a Q-tip, I use this dental piece, and it gets just as fine, if not finer, than a toothpick, and it is malleable.
Huh. What is it made out of?
Rubber.
Really?
And so I use them because, when you're going for those smudges, are you going for super fine smudges, or are you going for wider smudges? Are you going for using it as a eraser, as in like, if the dye runs, then you can re-merge it back into form, or do you need it just for smudging, just for effects?
Huh. Well, now you piqued my interest with that, because I have never heard of that before.
Thank you. Like I say in school, man, you name it, I did it in art.
Nice. So how'd you find that tool?
I went to a grocery store, and I went through the clearance section, and I found a pack. And I was like, oh my gosh, I could use those.
Yeah.
And I brought them home, and they worked out perfect.
Nice. Well, I guess it depends on what you're dyeing, but do you dye your mixture? Do you create your mixtures per dye, or do you kind of do them as, so I guess I kind of answered my own question because you have those bottles.
So if I fill it up, I can get, okay, let's say I'm using 4 bottles, 4 different colors on one disc. I could probably get 3 discs per bottle.
Okay.
So like,
Yeah.
But then it's like, if needed, then just a little bit more Floetrol and thin it out.
Yeah. So why do you specifically like to use iodine poly for your dye?
Mainly because it's like that was the first dye that I had found, and then I have mastered it to like being able to use it, and then getting different shades, being able to like mix the colors and get once again different shades, creating like just more or less it comes down to just different shades of colors.
Yeah.
But like instead of being a liquid base, or a like different dyes have different amount of time for rest, or different I don't know, I've just seen like just other people using their dyes mainly for like the glue beds, or like a liquid bed. And it's like with the eye dye, I keep in the crystals, so then it's like, do I need a little bit? Do I need a lot? But every time I make a disc, I make colors fresh.
Gotcha. Do you have any specific scientific recipes that you go by when you create your mixtures, or if it's just a little bit of this, dash of that?
I have a pretty good system down, where it is about 1/3 lotion to 2/3 Floetrol, and then about maybe total of about 1 tablespoon about 1 tablespoon per cup of acetone to break down the color crystals. So, but it's just like how much Floetrol do you need to thin out your lotion? Do you want your color to be thick and to where it's not malleable, or do you want it to be thin to where it runs with more Floetrol, or you mix it to where you can have like just a little bit more lotion over Floetrol and it's solid but still malleable.
So basically, you use lotion and Floetrol to do the viscosity. If you need something thinner, you use more Floetrol, lotion, vice versa. Interesting. Interesting that you use acetone as well. Have you ever tried using water instead of acetone?
I have, and I have found that so water will work, but you have a higher risk of your dye breaking. Your water will separate from your dye, and when it does, so water is kind of like the acetone, right? Is the liquid base, of course, but like as it colors, it will soak in that color, and then the water breaks from your dye. As it drips out, it will still dye where it drips, and so acetone, part of acetone, since it's such a tight acid, it evaporates very fast, and so once applied, as it evaporates, then your lotion and Floetrol are left. Your Floetrol will turn into hard, and your lotion, once dehydrated, it will turn into hard. So then your your acetone evaporates, Floetrol and lotion set. So then after that 12-14 hours, you'll have a hard seal. And then you wash it, and there's your beautiful piece of art.
How did you come up with your mixtures? Or is it just experimentation?
It is experimentation because that is part of art.
Yes.
And that's it's like so I cook too, so it's like I do artwork, everything from paper to plastic plates.
Yeah.
So it's like with cooking, it's like everything is experimental. You look at a recipe on paper, the recipe is never correct. It is never correct. Because everybody has a different sense of taste. So somebody will be like, oh, more salt, more pepper, more this, more that, and so kind of like that's art in general. Oh, I need more yellow. I need more orange. No, I need more purple. You gotta work, kind of make it work.
Yes. I love that saying, paper, plastic, and plates. Or whatever order that he had that in, but that's nice. What is the hardest part of disc dyeing for you?
Perfection. I am a fine detail perfectionist, and so if something goes out of order, if not really out of order, but if a line breaks, if I bump my disc and smudge, it's like I would say like that's like the kind of like the toughest part, because it's like you could put in 9 hours into this disc, and then in less than 2 seconds, those 9 hours are out the door.
Yeah.
So really, that's the toughest part.
Would you consider disc dyeing harder than paper art?
Absolutely.
Yes. So for those out there dyeing discs that say that they have no artistic ability, it is like one of the hardest mediums to do.
Yes, because it's like with paper, you go to paint, right? You can go to the store and buy every shade of paint, every color that you can ever think of. Disc dyeing, you have to create your dye. You have to create your own color. And then like just applying in general, and it's like is it gonna it's kind of like, is it gonna be a hour disc or is it gonna be a 36-hour disc?
So how long does it typically take you to dye a disc? And like What are the variables that make it take it longer?
Okay. Usually between 3 to 12 hours, depending on detail. So it's like if I am doing, if I want to do let's say a 3-wave Zentangle design, right? Individual piece. I put that down. That's 3 hours, just for the outline. And then, do you want it to go like blue, red, purple, or like what is your color scheme? Then you go through, do your color scheme. You do one color. Next thing you know, that's another 2.5 hours. That's not even that's just applying that 2.5 hours. That's just applying, not even making your colors, bottling your colors, going through and having to like smudge and do your filling detail so then you don't have bubbles. And it's like, or bullet spots, and it's like that's where it takes that's where it will take that longer time. But it's like it just like I say, like it just comes down to the amount of detail.
So I take it you mostly do them in multiple sittings.
So I will try to do one disc in one sitting unless it has different layers. If I am doing different layers, then I will do either day by day or every other day. But that's like 8 hours per layer, and there's 3 to 5 layers.
That's crazy. I'm also curious, you're applying all that stuff. Do you have any issues of it like drying out while you're working because it's taking so long to apply? So
are you saying like once on the disc or in the bottles?
Well, on the disc. So you said it like takes 3 hours to apply your design.
Yep. So it's like if it dries, I'm like, woohoo, because then it can't smudge. And once it dries, then those colors are set. And if I were to, like, let's say I get to the other side of the disc, this side is wet, that side is dry. If I were to scrape that, it's already halfway set. And so it's like, just kind of like looking at it like, all right, that's all done, you're ready. You just got to finish up this part. So have you noticed any issues with that? So like you lay down your first color and then you lay down your last color. Do you find that your first color is darker than the last part that you do? Because it's set like a few hours longer? Yes. Yeah. I have noticed that with discs that like I will set down and put 10 to 12 hours into for the whole top. I've had times like that with previous discs, but I have a system down to jump that. So now it's like if the color that let's say your first color that you put on is going to be the first one to set, right? Well, I've kind of beaten that by do the colors that you want the darkest first, or if you want to put down a line design and then add texture to it, put down your line design first, so then that will be the darkest, and then your other colors will complement that. Gotcha. Yeah, that was what I was thinking you were doing as well. Is like the colors that you want the darkest, you'll do the first. Awesome. Do you use any heat at all? So I have not yet, but I would like to, because it's like I've seen on your prior post that you did the 4 different discs, same color, same design, and the heated had set better. So it's like I was like, oh, like that looks like a freaking sweet idea, but it's like I just do not have a heater at my house yet. And it's like with when I do my disc tie dyeing, I do it all face up. I put the colors onto it, and then have it set that face up. So it's like, to apply heat right onto there and then have them set faster. Like, I think that's a grand idea.
Yeah. That also brought another question that I think of. How is it working with like really domey discs?
So domey discs are kind of a challenge. So working on 5 different ways of my pour over design, 5 different styles. But with doing that pour over, you are using more Floetrol to make it more liquidy, and less lotion to give it less body. So when doing that, your colors will have more flow, and so it'll flow off of the disc faster, giving lighter color at the top where the color, of course, is thinner, and then darker on the outsides. But, excuse me, but the best part of doing those super domey discs is flip that disc over and then do your design in there, and then do your pour into there, because now, it's a big bowl. And so then you just pour all your color in there, let it sit. When you're ready, dump it out. If I were to be doing a graphic on the top domey spot, I would do it. I would use all my handheld squeeze bottles. I would not do Floetrol liquid because of that thin.
I find what you do unique, that you apply the dye to the disc. You don't do beds. You do the disc is the bed.
Yes.
So that I think is like very unique, that I haven't really seen a whole lot of people do. Yeah, that is awesome. Speaking of that pour stuff, we're actually going to be recording a masterclass on how to do this specific technique with Bones here. So if you want to check out that video, I guarantee it's going to be awesome and you're going to learn something. That will be on the Dyers Guild website. It will be a paid class, but you will get to learn a lot, and the money will also help Bones, because a part of that will go to him as well. So I'm excited to record that. Yeah. So definitely go check that out. I would highly recommend that. I'll definitely do more posts about that. But yeah, again, you do the dye on top of the disc for your base. So
yes.
Do you have any disc dyeing fail stories of things that you've messed up on?
Yes. It could be from getting I put dye onto one of my opto. It's like the glitter opto fuse, like red plastic. Just got the tie dye on, put like 3.5 hours into it, and then I set it up on the counter, and my niece and nephew come into the room. My nephew's like, "Oh, what's this?" From that to like putting like 8-9 hours into a disc, and then I'm bringing it over, like going from like off my lap, because it's like I'll hold the disc and then freehand onto the disc. And so it's like I got it finally done, 9 hours into it, I'm holding it, and I go to walk up to the table, and it goes, and I'm like, please set a little bit colors.
That's interesting that you hold it by hand when you do that. You don't like set it on a table, you use your hand to hold it.
I do, because with holding it in my hand, it's like if I were to have it on a flat tabletop, you have to touch the edges, right? If you do the edges first, or do lines, and those lines go all the way out to the edges, you're going to touch it and smudge it. So when I hold it, I will hold with my hand inside the bottom of the disc, and then when I'm doing the artwork, I can rotate it to where it needs instead of having to touch it and then do that.
That is very interesting. I feel like I would get some hand cramps for holding it that long.
Like, I don't know. I get more hand cramps than this one from squeezing those little bottles, or like, just back pain from being hunched over and staring at this disc for 9 hours. Yeah,
that as well. Well, kudos for you for that, because I would probably like sneeze and goes, achoo! Ah, shit. Well, if you do have to set down the disc, what do you do?
So that's when, with having my hand underneath the disc, sometimes I will leave a empty spot of plastic on the edge to where I can put my thumb. So I'll come up to the table once it's all done, or once I'm ready for a rest point, then I'll take it and put it up to the table, get it on, and then slide up. And then if I'm at that finish point, then I will touch that thumb spot as the finishing spot, and then you won't even notice it.
Gotcha. Interesting. It's always fascinating to listen to how people do stuff. It's I always learn something new, and it's always interesting. Is there anything else that you like to try or do or experiment to, I don't want to say improve your dies, but just do something that you haven't done yet to improve your craft?
Sure. Or I'm like all freehand, where like I don't use a computer, I don't use kind of like find it, print it, put it on. So it's like my final goal, or like my main goal, is getting the computer, the printer, do my own freehand on a piece of paper, send it in, and then print it off, be able to get my own even finer detail onto discs. I have one right now, and that is my picture of Jupiter, and it is all individual piece Jupiter, and it has about 800 to 1,000 individual pieces. So, but it's like to just be able to do a freehand piece on paper, load it up, print it off, and then I can put my freehand art onto there, but it'll be like going from pencil onto there rather than doing freehand actual dye. That way I can get those finer black lines.
Yeah, I know we talked about that. And before we talked about that, because I was looking at your paper art, and there's that one, I think it was, I can't remember what it was. It was like the sun or something like that. It's on the moon.
Yep.
It's like, boy, I really want to digitize this and put it on a disc.
Yep.
So,
and I've heard that from 2 other people too.
Yes.
So like, yep, that one is the moon, the stars, and the sun. So, okay, we're talking tie-dyes on plastic, right? I was saying like 8 hours to 30 some hours, 32, 36, up to 42, right? My, like that sun, moon, stars, and the sun, on paper, that was about 96 hours.
That's crazy.
And so it's like, but it's like, that picture is from one of my seizures, and it's like take those emotions, put that on paper. But it's like if I can take the emotions of memories, put it on paper, and then be able to put that on plastic, that's my goal.
Yes.
And like doing all individual piece, main goal is to do all 9 of our planets.
Yes.
Okay, including Jupiter. Or I'm sorry, not Jupiter, Pluto.
Yes.
There we go.
Pluto is a planet and will always be one in my heart.
Yes.
So those 2 people that you're talking about were Mel and Eva from We Died Fly, right?
Yes.
Yes. So are they working on anything currently?
They are not.
Okay.
and then it was I think Eva.
Yeah.
She was the one who was able to supply or was able to print off for me my Jupiter picture. So I have that print at my house. I have not started it because I need to master shading. And one of my biggest colors that I have just least experience with is brown. So, and like brown, everything from the lightest tan of sand to almost black to going into orange and then going into green.
Yeah.
So I need that color mix in order to make Jupiter.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about experimenting with some pro chemical colors to get what you're looking for your different colors or different shades of brown?
Into which one?
Pro chemical dye, because I have a crap ton I have all the colors besides the 2 new colors.
Wait, you have a few? No.
Yeah, just a few. What you see off cameras, everything.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get into like how I am with markers on paper. I have about, I don't know, a billion and a half markers, but it's like trying to do that with dyes, but from various companies. You know, whatever company can make that correct shade, or if I can get that correct shade from whatever company, I'm gonna snatch it up.
Yeah.
But it's just dye right now is just the one that I know the best.
Yeah. No, that's what I started out with too. But yeah. So correct me if I'm wrong. You're basically looking for a stencil for your hand-drawn artwork to put on your disc, right?
Yes.
Okay. Fantastic. Yes. No, I really, really want to do that project with you, where you do the hand drawing and I can cut it out, and yeah. We will do this.
That sounds fantastic.
We will do this. You just need to give me the artwork and we can do this.
Absolutely. Hey, give me about 85 to 100 hours. You'll get it.
Starting now. Yeah, because like I said, that one I really wanted to digitize for you, and I wanted to do. But if you're doing it, it'd be a lot easier if it was like just the black part of it.
So like the like the sun and moon, right?
Yeah.
The sun and moon, and then the sunflower. Like I just saw. I feel like if we were to put them onto discs, that we would have to like crop the photo itself, and there's so much that is going on that if we were to get either one onto there's still so much more missing. Yeah.
That is true, because it is a rectangle art piece that you're trying to fit on a circle disc.
And then the circles on there both have like a billion layers.
Yeah. And like
I don't know, but it's like those, like I'm just thinking like those are some of my most horrible roughest times that I wish that I could forget, and I would never wish upon anybody else. So have a seizure one day, right? And then have 30 days of recovery.
That's crazy.
30 days of absolute exhaustion. And so you take that frustration, the depression, the anxiety of is it going to happen again? And it's like during that time I had constant twitching. When I would draw, my twitches would stop. And so take all of that and put that onto paper and turn something absolutely horrific and turn it into absolute beauty.
That almost put a tear to my eye.
I had 9 pictures, all 90 hours and over, and I lost those.
Oh boy!
And so that's how I got into doing tie-dyes, because instead of like having to bring around my portfolio, and then like, oh, like nobody spill anything, or like, hey, don't bend it. I can carry around bag of discs and don't have to worry about them getting like torn or wrinkled or anything like that, and then can show people and get the art out there, get beauty out there.
So from your experience, how have people reacted to your dies?
Like I have gotten a lot of wow with any artist in general. You get the people who are like, oh, I like this one, oh, I like that one. But then it's like the ones that mean the most, which is like which is my gold ice fuse. I call it the fuse between fire and ice. So then, like, if I were to show them that, I have had multiple people say, I will buy that right now. Or like, oh my gosh, where did you find that? And when I tell them that I drew that, all freehand, each smudge that you see is one individual smudge. About 95% of the people, I've watched their jaws hit the floor. But it's like, like you put your emotions on there, and it doesn't tell the story, but it's almost like if you have the bad times and a volcano explodes and then you have the lava go down, but then in the end you have a new wave of beautiful grass, beautiful flowers, beautiful trees growing from that lava that came down.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you gotta turn into something else, gotta turn into something beautiful.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So some more questions on the disc dye, and kind of like your favorites here for that. Do you have a favorite color of dye that you like to use?
I'd say right now, my favorite color is either rosy red or pink. Only because it's like they can do so much fading into different colors. So like, are you going to do different shades of red? Are you going to do red fading into yellow? Are you going to do pink with orange, pink with green, pink with purple, pink with blue, pink with green? What do you want to use pink with?
Pink.
Yeah. Do you want the pink texture? Do you want the main color of the disc to be coming through too? But it's just like with. I'm just thinking like with red is just like the start to a lot. So.
What is your favorite plastic type to dye?
That's a tough one, because I've dyed so many different discs. Either Innova Star plastic, Latitude 64 Opto, and like I've only done a few Discrafts, but it's like the Discraft ESP plastics.
Right on. What about MVP?
Like majority of my MVP discs are in that neutron plastic. Where like as long as it has a shine, it will absorb nicely.
Yes. And that's actually a really good rule of thumb, is if it has a shine, it can probably dye. If it's got like a matted feel to it, like a base plastic, then it won't take as good. So
no, that's where you could have it set for 14, 16 hours, and it'll only color maybe 50%. Where like I've dyed Casoplast. Casoplast is very absorbent, but then it's like I had a Casoplast Berg in hard plastic, and it did not absorb one drop. But it's like it was kind of like main like low plastic line, just general putter plastics, and if it's like that almost like rubber and plastic mix, that rubber will not absorb it. You need that solid plastic.
Yeah. Do you have a must-have accessory for disc dyeing that you like to use?
Yes. My one that I use and I could not live without is my smudger.
Is that the same thing as that dental tool?
Yep, but I have it to where it's in like the whole size, the whole shape of a pen. So then instead of being a hard tip pen, it's like a soft rubber tip pen.
Interesting. So I know you said you found those at the dollar store or something like that. Are you able to find them anywhere now? Have you looked?
Amazon!
Yes. All right. Well, the link to that will be somewhere because I'm really curious. And I need to get one now. So do you sell any of your discs currently?
So I have tried to. Right now, I am not selling any of my discs. I have done custom discs for friends. Like, you know, they'll come up to me and be like, "Hey, dude, you know, I just got this. I would like you to do the tie dye." But like to, you know, tie dye one my own and then sell it. No, not yet. That's kind of like a goal to work up to.
Gotcha. Do you do paid commissions? Like you get paid to dye someone's disc rather than selling something that you already did.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's mainly what I do.
Okay.
And it's like I will charge them usually about 30 to 50. 30 is once again it kind of like goes to detail of the amount of detail. So it's like, you know, I'll usually do $30 for the top side, but $50 for top and bottom. But then, you know, if it's you know, let's say top and bottom, it comes up to about, you know, like maybe about 40 hours worth. Then that's where it's like, you know, like that's where I would really like to charge, you know, like 55, 65, up to 85, depending on, you know, the amount.
Yeah, it's a lot of time and effort that you put into this for very little money. So
yes, yes.
I don't. Why can't we get
that's
the
where I'm
money?
trying to like blow minds with my 10 fingers. You know.
Yeah, how come we can't get the money that like canvas painters get from their damn things?
Like that's what I have been asking since I was in like 10th grade. Is like, how can like somebody go up, throw a whole bucket of paint onto a canvas and say, "Oh my gosh, that is absolutely beautiful," and then they sell it for like 1.4 million. And it's like, dude, like I put like 100 hours into just a black and white pencil picture.
Yeah.
And you're telling me that's not even worth $2?
Yeah.
Because it's paper?
Art is interesting like that. Side theory, I think like expensive art is just for a way for rich people to transfer money. Anyways.
And see, like that's where I separate, because it's like, you know, I'm not a rich kid. I'm a farm boy from Michigan, you know.
Yeah, I really do think that dyers do deserve more money for the dyes for the amount of time that they put in. It's like you're working way less than minimum wage for this. It's
And it's like with, you know, like the amount of time that is in it, the colors, the you know, the ingredients of it, you know, the fine beauty of it, you know, at the finished product, you know, like that should be freaking worth a lot.
Yeah.
You know.
I know like the dyes don't last forever and they fade obviously, but there's other arts that do the same thing, so why not?
True.
I mean, you necessarily don't throw a painting off the tee box, but hey, do you have any tips or tricks that you'd like to give anybody out there for disc dyeing?
My favorite saying is, and that I push onto others who are doing any other kind of art, or, you know, like getting into the tie dyeing, is I tell them, good art takes time. You know, you want a beautiful art piece, well then take your time and put it on. You know, but like, also it's just kind of like with anything else, it's gonna take about, I don't know, 1,000 hours to get great, at it. But like, you gotta start somewhere. It's like being a disc golfer, or like I think of like regular golf, and I've told my buddies this is like, if you were to go out regular golfing, you don't go out and grab the biggest driver. You start with like the sand wedge, or like, and then you work your way up. It's just like with disc golf, you start with a putter. You don't go out and grab a destroyer for your first day, And so I'm kind of like bringing that to tie dyeing, where it's like, you start with 3 colors. I started with a shaving cream, and then like start get like kind of like, I'm thinking like the only word that's in mind is like manipulate it to fit in your style of what you're going for. But it's like I say, you gotta start somewhere. You gotta start, with whether it be super simple, or like, oh, I'm just like feeling this style. Go for it, man.
Yeah, that is very good words of advice. And if you're on the fence of like, well, I don't want to start because I don't think I'm good enough. Well, that's the point, is it's going to take time and practice. And
yes.
Why not start now to build up that practice to get good later? And I know you said like 1,000 hours to get good at something. Yeah, it takes time to do that, to put in the repetitions. Unless you're a prodigy or something like that, you're not going to be great. So yeah, there's always more stuff that you can learn. So yeah.
Thank you.
If you were to start disc dyeing again, knowing what you know now, is there anything that you would do differently, or would you not do anything different at all, and just the way you developed was the way in the path that you took and learned?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then it's just like just the more time going with it, the finer I can get. And the finer detail, the more you can hide, the more it's like I have a picture where it's like, you look at it and it's like a big butterfly, but then you look into it and there's like a seahorse and like just different kinds of fish and jellyfish, and just like different stuff just hidden into that butterfly. And so it's like, if I can, like, I'd like to work towards that finer lines, finer detail, to be able to just get more and more and more onto that disc.
Is there anything else disc dyeing related that you'd like to talk about?
I'm just trying to, like, I don't know, I always kind of look at myself like a misfit. And so, it's like just trying to find different ways. If somebody says, oh yeah, dude, you should take path A is so smooth, I'm gonna be like, all right, dude, you can take path A, I'm going down path B.
Nice.
And so when it comes to that, it's like doing the hand drawn dyes. It's like trying to be that one person who can, like, just make these masterpieces without without a stencil, without a picture to go from. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, put it on when you see it. That's what it is. You come up and be like, hey, what was your idea behind this? I have a lot to inspire me. And so, it's just like, kind of like, you look at the disc and let the disc talk to you. Let the disc decide what it wants on it. Look at the picture. Oh, well, there's a shark. Well, put that shark underwater. How many layers of water? Where do you want the sun to be? It's kind of like purplish. Well, let's make it a space. Make it look like space. Or like, that's where, like, when I say that I'm in my shop staring at my disc for an hour to 5 hours. It's having that kind of communication between you and the art piece. What do you want on you? You know? So, and it's just kind of like let your mind take over and then turn something simple into a beautiful piece of art.
That is awesome. I don't think I have that level of creativity, but I do get your sentiment, and definitely respect what you do in your craft and how you do it. So,
thank you.
Definitely keep up the good work. I've known we chatted a lot, and I've actually learned some new stuff recording this, so that's great. So yeah, definitely learned a lot for the disc dyeing. But now the next section that we're going to do is favorite faves, to get you to know you more on a personal level.
Sure.
All right. So first thing that I said was favorite faves. What is your favorite band or song or genre of music?
Ooh, that's a good one. If I had to pick it out, probably be either Angel in the Centerfold or Southside Shuffle by Jay Giles Band.
Okay, I don't know if I heard that before.
That's like bringing like 80s classic rock, man. Yep. 70s, 80s.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely listened to a lot of 80s metal because my dad was into metal, and when I was a kid riding in his truck, he would always play that. So yeah.
See, it's like my dad would take us for rides, and we'd be listening to nothing but classic rock. And my dad would, he'd be driving, we're rocking out, and he goes, "And hey Al, who's this?" Like, it could be it could be Hendrix, it could be AC/DC, The Doors, The Who, Jay Giles Band, reading. And so it's like, if you get the song right or wrong, he'd tell us the members of the band, where they're from, what albums, what songs, who that he knows them, where, like the whole history.
That's crazy.
And so then like going to rock shows with my dad, it was like, oh my gosh, and there he is.
Yeah.
So yeah, classic rock.
There you go. All right. Next question. Favorite food? Which I'm curious to see what your answer is on this one.
Well, being a more or less like with my surgery, retired chef, I would say favorite food would be, ooh, that's a good one. I would say barbecue, but it'd be like Kansas City barbecue. I have one of my previous chefs who taught me, my buddy Chef Kevin. He lives down Kansas City, Missouri. There we go. So and he took me to one of the best barbecue joints I've ever been to. Presidents have been there, movie stars have been there, and it's like a little hole in the wall that you're just like, oh my god, I love this hole in the wall, I never want to leave. And my brother is a very, 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 very experienced barbecue chef. Like running 3 barbecue restaurants at the same time at a private disc golf course. Or I'm sorry, not disc golf course, golf course.
That's a dream.
Yeah. And so if I have any questions about barbecue, which I rarely do not, or which I really do, I ask my brother or my previous chef.
So what makes the Kansas City style unique? Like, what about it?
So It is the style of barbecue, or I'm sorry, of course, barbecue, but barbecue sauce. So where different states have different flavors of barbecue sauce or sauce in general, whether it be a apple cider vinaigrette based sauce, a mustard based sauce, but it's like when we were down there, that smoke joint, like the thing that made it absolutely unique was that it was going on 100 years of being open. They used the same smoker oven or smoker grill, right? All brick, for all of their meats. When you go, oh yeah, I'll go with the brisket sandwich. They'll give you a slice of white bread and start slicing the meat and start laying on the layers of slices. And you go, oh, that's a good sandwich. It keeps going. Oh, that's a good sandwich. No. It keeps going. There's your good sandwich, and then another piece of white bread on top. And then they give you like 6 different kinds of house-made barbecue sauces to all try and like just put on whenever. I've yet to have a barbecue that tops that barbecue restaurant. Like I say, it's going on 100 years, just like our family-owned restaurant here in Milwaukee called Kegel's Inn. We are a authentic German restaurant, fine dining, and we are going on 100 years.
That's crazy.
So it's like, find those like bomb hole-in-the-wall restaurants. They're hard to come by, but you find those, and oh my gosh, they are worth the stop. You will never have food like that. It's like at Kegel's Inn, the dish I recommend to anybody is our half-roasted deboned duck. That dish at that restaurant is my pride and joy.
I know I just ate, but damn, am I hungry again.
I hear that a lot. That's part of being a chef.
Yeah. So, what is your favorite beverage?
If I could drink it, beer.
Yeah.
But like, no, otherwise, like, I'd say just kind of in general, just carbonated water.
Okay.
Because then you have like the carbonation of soda or beer, but it's like, still get to carry a can around.
I guess. I hate sparkling water. It's basically just like they took the leftover soda and watered it down. So it's like, ooh.
Yeah, and washed out all the sugar and flavor and syrup and
yes, everything good about what it is. It's gone.
All the brown. Now it's clear.
Yeah.
Why does it taste like fruit? I wanted caramel.
Yeah. Ew. Anyways, so what other hobbies do you have besides disc golf and disc dyeing? I know you mentioned that you're in the food industry and you were don't scrutinize me, but a chef or a cook, and you did all that. Yeah. So what other hobbies do you have?
I am a big snowboarder in the winter. And then in the summer is disc golf, mountain biking, and hiking.
Nice.
But yeah, it's like during the winter, it gets too cold. Don't want to look for your disc for 10 minutes for every throw. Pull out the snowboard. Enjoy the snow. Don't be hiking through it. Be sliding on it.
Whatever. Just throw a ribbon on your disc.
Yeah, like, dude, I have seriously been thinking about bringing my snowboard out to Brown Deer. So then when you get up onto that big hill on the winter back 27, snowboard all the way down to the bottom, be like, hey, I got my disc.
Yeah, there you go. Or the newly opened summer trails at Alpine. Because that's literally on the ski hill.
Yeah, and I've snowboarded there before.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. There you go.
A couple times.
Yeah,
it's a good slope.
Yeah. I don't know if I remember you saying mountain biking before, but where's your favorite place to go around here?
So I've been up to the like to say Kettle Moraine, and the what's it like glacial
Drummond Trail,
something hills, but it's all like single track bike trails. Up, down, over these like smaller hills through pine forest that were all part of glacial movement.
Nice. Yeah, I really want to get back into mountain biking, but boy, howdy, am I out of shape.
Yeah, it's like I know I got into my fat bike the other day, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I gotta ride this thing more often.
Yes. Next section. So if you had to pick 3 discs to play any course for the rest of your life, what would those 3 discs be and why?
Okay. I would say the driver would be the Latitude 64 Musket, 10.5 neg 0.52. The mid-range would be the Latitude 64 Fuse, mainly in the Gold line, because Gold line will have more flex than the Opto. And then putter would be my old and faithful soft plastic Latitude 64 Keystone. Yep.
Awesome. Well, those are the only discs you can use from now on, so good luck.
All right, I'll take pars.
Yeah, I know. Jeez. I have like a million discs, but I only use 3, honestly. All right. The perfect hole. What has been your favorite course and or hole that you've played so far?
Okay. Are we saying here in
your entire life, anywhere?
Okay. Okay, then my all-time favorite hole is was my first ace hole, hole 9 at Snowmass Yellow, Snowmass, Colorado. It was a about 345 feet, going open to a maybe 20-25 foot wide tree tunnel, back to open, across a dirt street, then up a hill. Basket is planted at the top of the hill, and then there is a teepee behind the basket, and then a beautiful mountain drop behind the teepee.
And you aced that.
And I aced that.
Wow, what a hole.
With a Innova Dragon sidearm.
I don't think I ever heard of that before.
It is a 9.5, I think a 9.5 neg 2.2.
Huh.
But yeah, I threw it sidearm when I could throw sidearm. And yeah, so that course is no longer like there. They stopped maintaining it. The third year of us being out in Colorado. But Snowmass Yellow, you had to hike up 1,200 feet to get to hole 1. And it was about a 2.5 hour 18. And just about every hole was over 400, and every hole you're like, wait, where's the basket? So longest shots, there were four shots, all over 590 downhill.
Nice.
Yep.
Do you have any courses that are on your bucket list that you would like to play?
So first one is like it's a pro course, but it's like back legit at home over in Michigan. It was like 3 miles down the road from where I grew up. Bluegill disc golf course. they have like 3 1,000-foot holes. That one's like top, and then like to hit up a couple courses in Illinois and Wisconsin, next state up from Wisconsin. Minnesota. Because I've had a couple friends go to Minnesota, and from what I hear, they have some crazy courses. But like here in Wisconsin, the one that I would really like to hit up is the one up in Door County. I've been to Door County once, and then like I found out that they have a course, and I know a few people who have played comps up there, and they like it's breathtaking. So,
dream date. If you had to pick a pro disc golfer to hang out with and play around with, who would it be and why?
I know. A lot of you guys are gonna be like, yeah, you know, he's gonna be like top pick, but probably Paul McBeth, only because like I have been following him. I have been like, kind of like how Shaun White was with a snowboard. Like everybody saw him, like tearing it up, and it's like I've been watching Paul McBeth from like the start up to date, and it's like if I had the opportunity to even shake his hand, it would be well worth it.
Nice, that's awesome. Well, at least he didn't say me.
but at the same time, my cousin and his girlfriend Sue are both pros. My cousin just got second place state for Michigan.
Wow.
And he is like top 30 nationwide. And then his girlfriend, Susan, I think Susan Steffens, she is 4-time world champion for women's disc golf 40 and up.
Nice.
At least this last time was the 40 and up.
Yeah. I can't wait to get into a protected age bracket. It's the only way I'll win.
Because my cousin has gotten, I'd like to say my cousin has went to Worlds 2-3 times, and he has been to national disc golf comps through his career.
Nice.
So.
Awesome.
Yep. So it's like when I go back to Michigan, I hang out with the pros.
Well, Mr. Bones, I have definitely learned a lot. I know we've talked off camera a lot before, but I actually did learn a lot in this recording. So that is awesome.
Thank you.
I hope you learned something too. Yeah, definitely go check out his work. Where can people find you at?
So I have I go on Instagram or on Facebook. Instagram, I'm Rad Bones Artwork. No, I'm sorry, Bones Rad Art. There we go. On Instagram, and then go by Bones Radlinski on Facebook, and I post all my disc tie-dyes on Instagram and Facebook. So.
Yeah, definitely go check it out. Do you have your paper artwork on there as well?
I have one of my paper artwork pieces on there, but I can get 4 or 5 more onto my Instagram. Gotcha.
So definitely go check out his work. Go give him a follow, a like. That'll be fantastic. And again, it's a very unique dyeing process that he does. And speaking of that, we'll actually be recording a master class that he'll be teaching a specific dye technique that I don't think a whole lot of people have done.
I haven't seen this style out there yet. A lot of the stuff that I do in my garage is I love art, so it's like I pull secrets out of my brain, and then I put them on, and then I look online, and it's like, the art that I'm seeing, I'm like, okay, like that's sweet. But then like this style, I haven't seen it out.
So you will see what the finished disc looks like, because we will actually be, he will be raffling off that disc that we do from that master class. So definitely go check out that master class to see the secret sauce for that. But for this podcast, we will be raffling off that disc. So 100% of the proceeds from that raffle will go back to Bones to help support him and his amazing craft that he does. The raffle will go live when this podcast goes live, and it'll be live for 2 weeks. You can find that disc on the Dyers Guild website. So if you go to dyersguild.co/raffle, you will find it there. So yeah, I'm excited to record this masterclass, check out that disc, and yeah, I'm again glad we could finally make this happen and work.
Absolutely, this is awesome. Like, this is a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. Thanks for being on. So,
absolutely.
All right, guys. Until next time, we'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.